Hello, fantasy baseball fanatics. How you doing? Welcome to the Fantasy MD's Baseball Podcast. Today is Wednesday, April 6th, 2022. This is episode number 11. Your host, Dominic Martino. Here as always with my co-host, Matthew Arnay. Matt, opening day tomorrow, brother. Finally, it's here. How you feeling? You excited?
I'm feeling good outside of the fact I'm going to be working for half the starting games. But, it is what it is.
Yeah.
I'll have it on my ears, listening, getting, whatever baseball I can outside of the Yankees not getting postponed. Come on.
Oh, yeah, that's a killer, man. That's a killer.
But, outside of that, we got baseball and we got fantasy to talk about.
Hey, man, who are we to complain? We're not here to complain. We got some news. We're going to head into the news first, guys. Let's go with one that happened a couple of days ago, but it's a little interesting for fantasy. We got Austin Meadows headed over to the Detroit Tigers. Not only is that fantasy relevant for Detroit, it's also fantasy relevant for Tampa Bay because that means Josh Lowe has got the job over there in the outfield, looks like. So, he seems to be a good pickup right now. I was just looking on Yahoo, had 12,000 pickups today. So I would say take a flyer on him if you got a guy at the end of your bench. You stash somebody on the IL like a Tatis. Seems like a good pickup for him. As for the Austin Meadows side, it doesn't really change much for me. He still is what he is. I think he'll still be in line to get a bunch of RBIs like he did last year. He'll still hit you 25 plus home runs, but the batting average isn't going to be great. The runs is going to probably be mediocre and doesn't really steal bases anymore. So I think that's about that. I'm not going to go into depth. Matt, I'll ask you your opinions though. What do you think about the Meadows trade?
I mean, it really has zero fantasy implications outside of Low, possibly, recovering some maybe where you have maybe a weak utility, but that'd just be about it. I wouldn't touch Meadows with a 10-foot ball.
Yeah, I think Meadows at this point is, 12-man league, kind of like a bench guy, something like that, because I think he's still going to be in line. I think he'll still get you a bunch of RBIs if you could take the hit and batting average, if that's a risk you want to take, go ahead, be my guest. But as Matt just said, I'm not taking that risk with Meadows. I did it last year, and it kind of killed me. So I'm out on him. But like Matt said, go out there and pick up Low. I think he's worthy of a stash right now. See what happens with him. On some little bit bigger news, Jose Ramirez gets a deal here from the Cleveland Guardians. It's a 5-year deal, $124 million, which is interesting because it seems like Cleveland didn't really have any committed money going into the next couple of years. So looks like they're gonna try and build around Jose Ramirez, which is cool. Jose Ramirez is a great player. Top first round pick, top 5 pick. Just interested to see what Cleveland's going to do here going forward. Not really much fantasy implication, except Jose is going to be on this team for a few more years. But it's cool to see Jose gets his money.
Well, Matt, it kind of gives us a little bit more security of where his outlook's going to be and be a little bit more predictive with him. So make you feel a little bit more safe. Because if you didn't get this deal done, he'd probably be traded. Which then you got to worry about, okay, where's he going to land? So at least now, you know what, you invested a high draft pick, at least you know what you're going to get now. And then hopefully, they'll be able to bring something in to kind of complement him. That'd be just about it in terms of fantasy outlook for at least what this means for the short-term future for Jose.
Yeah. Well, yeah, like I said, it's not really too much besides, like Matt said, you got some security here. You kind of know what you're getting out of Jose now. Another one that's actually a little bit interesting here. I wouldn't say it's super fantasy relevant except for deep leagues, but it's worth talking about. Johnny Cueto gets signed to the White Sox. Looks like, he's got that 5th rotation spot there. He's not really as good as he used to be. He's 36 years old. I'll read you off what he did last year. It wasn't great, but it's like I say, in deeper leagues, it's useful. 4.08 ERA, 21 starts, 114.2 innings, 98 strikeouts, and a 1.36 whip. So, that's pretty bad. But guys in, 15-man leagues, maybe AL only leagues, there's definitely leagues out there where you could probably, use them at the end of your bench, but not really too many leagues. Yeah, like Matt said, but Matt, thoughts here on Cueto. Just headed over to the White Sox, gets the number 5 job until Lynn's back.
Vomit. So next.
All right. Well, that's that. Got one more thing here that we're going to mention as far as news goes. Jordan Hicks got the 5 spot in the St. Louis Cardinals rotation. I find this one interesting because there's been a lot of hype around this kid for a few years now. Throws gas. I know he throws 100, even a little over 100 at times. So it's going to be interesting. I don't think he got too much work last year. I'm actually going to pull that up. Matt, what do you think about Jordan Hicks, though, getting that 5 spot? I know you weren't as high on him as I am here.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? He really just hasn't been too much involved, if I remember correctly. He's just been like kind of like a here at bullpen kind of guy, and you know, we really haven't get to see his stuff as a starter. You know, so it's like it's intriguing because he throws over 100, but at the same time, like what he did in 10 innings last year isn't really intriguing either because he had what a 5.4 ERA with a 1.5 WHIP. So I mean, it's not really great outside of the K per 9, which is
he hasn't really broken out yet. I'll read you off his career stats. He's thrown 116 innings in his career. He's got a 3.64 ERA, 111 strikeouts, and a 1.25 ERA. I mean a 1.25 WHIP. Sorry about that. The thing is, the kid, it's more hype than anything else. We have not seen anything yet in the major leagues, you know. So I'm not going out there and dropping anybody for him. But hey, you know, if you're in a deep league where you had to throw a couple guys on the IL like a Lance Lynn or a Clevenger or somebody along the lines of that. You know, if he's out there, it's worth a shot. I think you give it the shot, you see what happens, and if you know what, if he sucks, you drop him right away. You know,
worst case, you know, I like to do is I'll throw a Bleacher Report star to highlight him. So if he does something good, I'll get a notification on my phone, and then it's kind of an indication of whether I'm picking him up or not. So you may not even have to follow him. You know. Little tangent real quick, but I have Bleacher Report set, and any guy that I'm on my watch list, I usually just set a little alert. So if anybody's doing good or gets called up, I can get an alert first before everybody else, and then I'm ready to rock. But he's one of those guys I'm doing it for just in case. I mean, if the hype is real, I want it. You know, if it's not, at least I'll know.
Yeah, guys, just there's somebody to keep tabs on it for anything else, you know. All right, so this episode we really want to get into here, kind of just some opening week tips, tricks, and, you know, stuff like along the lines of that. We're going to try and help you guys get through this first week. First thing I want to mention here is that in most formats, this first week is actually going to not just go to Sunday. I know most veteran players know this. A lot of, you know, your rookie or second year guys might not know this. But most leagues are playing till April 16th, which I believe is next Sunday, or 17th, which is next Sunday. And that gives a little bit longer scoring period than normal. So you got, you know, this Thursday through Sunday, then you got the whole next Monday through Sunday. So you got a little bit of time there to, you know, work things out, you know, see how your team looks. And we want to really walk you through the next couple of days here at first. You know, we're going to pull up the schedule here, so point out some good matchups and guys that you could get in there to stream and things along the lines of that. So tomorrow we're going to start with April 7th. As we mentioned earlier in the episode, the Yankees and Red Sox game is rained out. And so is the Seattle Mariners and Minnesota Twins game as well. They're both going to be made up on Friday, April 8th, which is cool though. So we get to see our Yankees play, and a little bit upset that we don't get to see, you know, Julio Rodriguez. You know, actually, we should mention that as well. I think that we didn't get to that as well. Last time there was still a little bit of debate if he was going to make the team or not. But Julio Rodriguez is officially going to make the Seattle Mariners team, which is awesome, guys. If you got any shares of him, I think sky is the limit. He's going to be great. Go ahead, Matt. Speak. Yeah, you got it, brother. You don't got to ask. Just go ahead. Go ahead, man.
So he was sitting on the waivers in one of my leagues. So yeah. So I scooped him up. You know what? There you go. I got super aggressive because I went super heavy in a 12-man league on pitching, and you know my UT wasn't hot, so I threw the whole waiver budget on him. So I just said,
I don't blame you. I just said, set it, forget it. And if he is there, I wouldn't say throw the whole waiver budget like I did. I was a little bit in a different position, but you know, I think at least 50%. I mean, it may be early, but to be honest, the upside is unreal, and you're going to get that kind of bat for pretty much $3.99. So
Take it.
Yeah. I would say, if he's out there in your leagues at this point, because I know some leagues he definitely did go undrafted, especially if you drafted earlier in the year. I'd say if you $100 budget, I wouldn't be afraid to throw around 60 to 70 at him. I know it sounds like a lot, but I think him and Bobby Witt are 1A and 1B, and I think both of them make a big push for that AL Rookie of the Year, and it's going to be fun to watch. I truly think it's going to be one of the most fun Rookie of the Year races to watch in a long time. I think they take it all through the summer. I think they both have potential to be in the All-Star game this year. And it's just going to be a lot of fun to see what these rookies can do. Hopefully they do better than some of these rookie bats did last year. But moving on, I do want to highlight some of these matchups that coming into this weekend here. You got the Brewers versus the Cubs. So go out and get all your Brewers in there. The Cubs pitching is not very good. Willie Adames, anyone along the lines of that. Some guys who might have been lower end, I'd say they move up this week, Brewers hitters. You got Corbin Burns. Hendricks is the first game. That's going to be fun. Let's see if Kyle Hendricks could bounce back from that bad year last year. Not too high on him, but I have heard some people that think that he's going to be a little bit better. Matt, what are your thoughts here on the Brewers Cub matchup for this weekend?
Well, I mean, you start every single Cub imaginable in terms of pitching. I guess. The Brewers could.
Yeah, you got your Brewers, and then you get your Corbin Burns, your Freddie Peraltas, your Brandon Woodruffs.
So essentially, I'm not. This isn't a DFS show, but if you play DFS or if you got to do some kind of sports betting, bet it all on Corbin Burns and Woodruff against the Cubs. Nobody's hitting him.
I'd second that.
And to be honest, if you're planning on starting a Cub in terms of bat, if you're in that desperate mode, like I wouldn't even bother. I'd move on from that thought process. And Milwaukee's probably just going to light them up all around because Kyle Hendricks is pretty washed up too. So I'd probably roll out my my bats from Minnesota as well.
Yeah. What's funny is as I scroll over to Friday here, and it's Brandon Woodruff versus Justin Steele. I don't want to sound ignorant, but I really don't know who this guy is. So, as Matt said, you get all your Brewers pitchers in there, you get all your Brewers bats in there, as I said, and the finale is Freddie Peralta versus Marcus Stroman. I don't know why Marcus Stroman isn't pitching the second game, but you know what, it is what it is. So, like we said, we like the Brewers a lot in that matchup. Another matchup I want to highlight here is going to be that Braves-Reds matchup. The World Series champion Braves are going to be at home against the Reds. The Reds do have some good pitching, so I'm not going to go out there and say that the Braves are going to dominate, but I do think they take the series. But it's going to be interesting. I definitely think you have your Matt Olsons, you guys like that. But you know what? Dansby Swanson is somebody who's interesting this week. I don't know how he's going to do against Tyler Mahle, Hunter Green. And another guy we should highlight here is actually Nick Lidolo, who did make the opening day rotation as well as Hunter Green did. I believe we mentioned Hunter Green in the last episode, but we've got to mention him here again. Top 5 prospect as far as pitching goes. Lidolo's up there as well. And Lidolo had a great spring, actually. He's a guy that I would say is going to be a pickup this week, guys. If if he has a great start, as Matt said, you throw your tabs on him on whatever app you're using that gives you notifications. Even on Twitter, if you type in his name and the hashtag there and you hit an alert for his name, anything happens that's interesting with him, you'll see it. And I think somebody I'm interested in. So I do think it's going to be a competitive series. Matt, what do you think here about the Braves and Reds?
One, I'm rolling out all my Braves bats, no question.
Yeah.
I think Matt Olson's probably going to have about 2 home runs this weekend at least. And, along with the Albies and the Ozunas and everybody else under the sun. I'm definitely going to start Max Fried. I think that's a great matchup for him. So I think he's going to pitch very well this year. I'm pretty high on him. So I think that's going to be great. I really am excited. I don't think we're going to see Lidolo this weekend. I think he's pitching on the 13th, is last I read.
Yes, you're correct. You're correct. I did see that. I
do want to touch on him because he did have an incredible spring. Like Dom said, I actually have the numbers. So he had a 2.38 ERA with 3 games started. 11 innings pitched. He had 12 strikeouts. He had a 0.97 whip. And quite honestly, that's pretty great. And you know what? If you look at his minor league stats as well, they're pretty much the same.
Yeah, monsters. I was looking at him earlier today. I'm going to throw out this as well. I believe the start's going to be against the Pirates, which are another team that you want to be streaming against this year, guys. The Pirates have not really that many names. I don't even know how far I can get through their lineup at the moment. So definitely want to get out there, on that one.
I would definitely also bet the over on his strikeout count against the Pirates, but that's just me.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know what? Let's transition here because you know what? You got another good series coming up this weekend. It's the Cardinals and the Pirates. That's another one. Get your Cardinals out there. Get your Tyler O'Neills. Get your Harrison Baters. You obviously your Goldschmidts and your Arenados. But you know what? That's a series that I would totally get all your Cardinals pitchers. You know what? Get your Steven Matz in there. Get your Adam Wainwrights in there. Mm-hmm. That's going to be one of the best streaming teams this year, guys. Obviously, the first game you got Adam Wainwright headed out there. It's going to be cool to see him and Pujols and Yachty back together. It's been a long time. I saw a cool meme with them from back in the day, and them back together again. And I was like, that's awesome. Also saw a cool video with Nolan Arenado from last year when he got to the Cardinals. He was like, I just want to say one thing real quick. Albert Pujols is my favorite player. I hope he goes out the right way. And it was just awesome to see now with their teammates. So it's pretty cool to see that. Albert Pujols, one of my favorite players growing up, one of the best fantasy players of all time. So it's cool to see him go back home. Matt, any thoughts here on Pujols going back home and just the matchup here this weekend, the Pirates and the Cardinals?
It's a nice, good farewell tour. But let me get into the actual fantasy nitty gritty. Let me drink a little haterade too.
Oh yeah, Matt's got the haterade out for us.
So, I mean, this is probably the only time I'll be willing to roll out Adam Wainwright.
Damn, that's big talk. He had a good year last year, though, man.
He had that for the first time in 5 years since he was an elite pitcher.
Fair enough.
There was either a lot of sticky something on the hands or a lot of injecting in the hiney. So
no, man, that curveball is pretty good. But I'll let you go. I'll let you rant. I see the haterades app. That was a big sip.
Yeah, it was. It was refreshing too. So I really don't think that he's going to be anything wonderful. I think, honestly, this is my perspective. If you did draft him thinking that, and then you're listening to this podcast and now I gave you second doubts, there's a solution, though. So after he lights up the Pirates and everybody's like, oh, my God, he's still got it from last year, trade him as soon as possible. Get something good, possibly multiple pieces, because you may get somebody that's silly and still buying that hype from last year, and you might be able to pull out a couple sneaky little things and make that first trade of the year and, you know what, turn out better than just a Adam Wainwright. And after he flops in a couple weeks, you're going to be looking like a genius. But as for the rest of it, I really do think that, the bats on the St. Louis side are really going to light them up. Obviously, it's the Pirates. And then on the Pirates side for pitching, I do want to. Is Mitch Keller pitching this weekend? That'd be the only.
He could be. Hold on, I can find out for you.
Yeah, but I'll tell you why I even have this mindset while Dom's looking that up. So Mitch Keller's throwing gas. I don't know if you've been watching that, but he's looking like somebody that's, I'm dying for him to get traded and become elite like Cole. And
I don't think their rotation is out yet.
Okay.
I don't think they've decided what they're going to do.
Okay.
I think they just have JT Brubaker scheduled for opening day. But I wouldn't be surprised if Mitch Keller got in there. So, I mean, you finish your Mitch Keller, and I'm high on him too.
Right. So, I mean, I'm just waiting for him to get moved, and then he'll become elite like everybody else.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
So his stuff looks great. And he would be somebody intriguing. I'm not saying start him. Do not start him because, again, it's still the Pirates. And, I don't really trust
the Cardinals are a tough matchup.
Right. That too. But I would put a little watch list, set a little app reminder, see what he did,
Definitely.
See how hard he's throwing, and really don't pay too close attention to his ERA, as weird as that sounds. Just look at what he's doing in terms of whip and strikeouts and how long they let him go into the game. And if he does somehow magically have a low ERA against these guys, if he's pitching against them, it's even one more step closer to me picking him up. So, just somebody else give a little watch out. And I think we could just move on from here, Dom.
Real quick, I just do want to say this, though, as well. I'll go as far as even saying this with Mitch Keller. If you're in a deeper league, let's say a deep 12-man or 15-man league, and, you dealing with these injuries right now that we talked about in the last episode, and they're still happening as, things are going on right now, that Lance Lynn, the DeGrom, guys like that, I'd go as far as to say if Mitch Keller's out there and you just need somebody and there's nobody else, pick him up. Pick him up, throw him out. Not throw him out there against the Cardinals, but hold him and stash him. And like Matt says, see what happens, And I really wouldn't judge him by the ERA too much. It's a bad team, bad defense behind him. So you know what? The FIP might wind up looking better than the ERA, which is a good indicator to look for. And like Matt said, watch out for the whip, watch out for the strikeouts. He's definitely somebody who I think is going to wind up being on a lot of rosters by the end of the year. The last matchup that I want to highlight from Thursday, specifically, is going to be the Padres and the Diamondbacks. I think the Padres take advantage of them here a little bit. They got a very, very good rotation. The lineup isn't monstrous there without Tatis, but they still got Luke Voight. They got a couple other sneaky guys there that I think they'll wind up being all right. They got Jake Cronenworth, a few other names. I think they're going to be sneaky good. And that Diamondbacks team isn't really all that. They got Madison Bumgarner as their opening day starter going up against Yu Darvish there for the Padres. I just think, like I said, get all your Padres in the lineups, and as far as the Diamondbacks go, you really don't want to get any of those pitchers in there, but it's going to be interesting for the bats too, going up against all those good pitchers, the Ketel Martes of the world and the guys like that. I'd just be careful out there, just as far as that goes. The second matchup here is actually Merrill Kelly versus Sean Manaea. So once again, this Padres pitching, rotation goes very, very deep. So I think the Padres beat up on the Diamondbacks there. Matt, what about you?
No, you pretty much, said it right. One thing is Merrill Kelly is another one of my guys I actually do like. Don't start him this weekend, but
not this
definitely not this weekend. But he's somebody to just watch list, see how he does throughout the season. If anything, he's going to be like a next month kind of pickup when guys start getting hurt or whatnot. You need a quick spot start against a good start, good matchup for him. And also too, who knows? He may get moved at some point, and then might be in a better opportunity than on the Diamondbacks. I just think the kid's got a little juice in the tank that's not being utilized.
Yeah, guys. So Merrill Kelly. Damn, why do I have such a problem saying that?
Merrill Kelly.
Yeah, I know, right? It's like an easy name too, Merrill Kelly.
Yeah,
somebody definitely to throw on your watch list there.
If you can't tell, part of my expertise is pitching. Yes. I know a lot of guys out there that I'm ready to just rip off. Hey, put that guy on the watch list as they come.
Get him out there. He's definitely somebody interesting. All right, so we're headed into Friday now. We're gonna check some of these other matchups that don't start, on Thursday, that do start on Friday. First one I'm gonna highlight here is going to be Tampa Bay versus the lowly Baltimore Orioles. Tampa Bay should beat up on them. You got Shane McClanahan starting opening day, who I'm actually interested to watch. A lot of people are high on him. I've heard even his name in Cy Young talks. I'll tell you this though, I had an opportunity to draft him over the weekend and I didn't. I actually decided to go with my boy Kopech. If you've seen, somebody I'm ranting about, so I do want to see what McClanahan's going to do. I want to see if I'm going to regret it all year, or if I was right, that whip looked a little high for me normally, but I think he goes out there and I wouldn't be shocked to see a double-digit strikeout game against Baltimore. Baltimore, they really don't have too many hitters. It's really just Cedric Mullins and a bunch of young dudes going out there. John Means draws the opening day start, which I do think John Means has a little bit of interest from me this year because they moved the walls back there in Baltimore, and he had a decent year last year before he went down and got hurt. So, as far as that matchup goes, and then the second day is Saturday, April 9th for them, and it's Jordan Lyles versus Drew Rasmussen. So, it's going to be interesting to see there, if Tampa sweeps them 3-0 like I'm thinking it's going to be here, Matt. You feel the same way?
No. Ultimately, it's one of those things where Tampa's just going to dominate. Shane McClanahan is probably going to have a really nice game against them.
Yeah, I think so too.
Outside of that, there's no real highlights for that. And I mean, I'm calling it. John Means is going to flop this year.
You know what though, too? Like we said, I didn't realize that Tampa's playing Baltimore in there for their first series. So you know what? Maybe this kid Lowe goes off. So I would say that's another reason to pick him up. Go out there, snag him, put him on the end of your bench, or if you need him to start for you, throw him out there, see what happens. Very highly touted prospect. So I wouldn't be afraid to go out and get him, especially with this matchup. That next matchup here is the Dodgers and the Rockies. That one's going to be really, really fun, and it looks like it's in Coors. So sky's the limit for everybody there. Get all your Rockies in there and get all your Dodgers in there as far as I'm concerned. Let's see what my boy Chris Bryant does. They got Randall Grichuk over there now. You got Ryan McMahon. And I mean, we know the Evil Empire lineup. I don't even have to go through that. You go through those guys. The only one starts Cody Bellinger. Until I see something, get him on your bench. I don't know. Too many strikeouts. I think it's some. I don't know, man. Matt, what are your thoughts here?
What about the Colorado game with this is just going to be a home run.
Yeah, right. Home run derby time.
Yeah, I mean, I think Freddie Freeman's going to knock one out the park. I think everybody who steps up the bat in Coors Field is going to knock one out the park. I'm going to step up the bat and knock one out of the park. And I think that the only person to even get a hit is going to be Chris Bryant. But I mean, he's going up against Walker Buehler, so good luck. My number one pitcher on the year.
Yeah, that's going to be fun for them, the Rockies.
Yeah, good luck. That's all I got.
Yeah, it's Walker Buehler, Kyle Freeland. That first game, I could see it being a 13-2 game, for the win for the Dodgers. There, that one's gonna be fun.
Enjoy the 13-room pools.
Yeah, easily. Get that out of the way early. All right, so we'll go over to our next matchup here that I want to highlight. You got the San Francisco Giants against the Miami Marlins. I don't know what's going on with me, Matt, tonight. I'm tired. I had a long day. So the San Francisco Giants against the Miami Marlins. It's going to be an interesting one. We get to see Logan Webb take on Sandy Alcantara there in the first game. That's going to be a lot of fun. Let's see if Logan Webb can repeat what he did last year. But as far as I'm concerned, I'm getting all my Giants in. I'm getting my Joey Barts. I'm getting my Brandon Crawfords. I'm getting all those guys in that lineup, out there against Miami. I know their pitching is pretty good, but it's still, I think the Giants have a great lineup this year. I think they, kind of bounce off of what they did last year. And you know what? Miami's going to be interesting to watch too. Matt's boy, Jesus Sanchez, is going to be fun to see what he can do. Jazz had a hot spring, so I still think Miami fights back. I think Miami's going to be an interesting team this year. That's why I kind of wanted to highlight this series. I think Miami might give them a little run for their money, but still, I wouldn't put anything past this Giants team either.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun matchup to watch. Honestly, it's going to be a pitching, chess match, and I can honestly see both sides just being ruthless, and it's going to get blown up. And by relief, it's not going to happen in the first two. Honestly, I think that Logan Webb and Alcantara are just going to pitch out of their minds. It's going to be fun. I think we'll be talking about this matchup for a couple weeks.
Yeah, it's going to be fun because you got Trevor Rogers there. You got Alex Wood, Alex Cobb. The two Alexes, I'll highlight them as well. If you have Alex Wood or Alex Cobb out there in your league by any chance, I think they're both going to have great years. I know Alex Cobb was throwing a lot harder this spring. I heard he's touching 97, which is interesting. Anyone that's throwing that hard and, has been around as long as he has, good track record too. Somebody throw on the watch list. As you know here, Matt said, both of us do very, very well with pitching. We go very, very deep into our pitching rankings. I'll just throw it out there, guys. If you're interested and you want either of our pitching rankings, we both go past 100 starting pitchers at any point in the season. Just, feel free to shoot us an email at thefantasymds@gmail.com, and feel free to chat with you and throw our rankings out there. But as far as this matchup goes, it's going to be super, super cool. I think it's going to be fun to see all these young pitchers go and do their thing. So we'll keep going here. Another matchup where you're going to see some dominance. We'll go back to some dominating matchups here. I think the Toronto Blue Jays just dominate the Texas Rangers as far as pitching goes. The thing is, the Rangers definitely got their bats together, but the starting pitching still isn't there as far as I'm concerned. I mean, it's John Gray on opening day. I think he's interesting to see what he's going to do, but I think this Blue Jays lineup just goes out there and kind of beats up on him. As far as I'm concerned, I think Vlad and Bo and just all those guys. You got George Springer healthy. It's just going to be fun to see them go through that lineup and just beat up on pitchers. And I think Jose Barrios. Actually, I don't know. I wanted to say that he might have a good day, but I don't know. I'm interested to see what this Texas team does with Simeon and.
It's not going to be an easy matchup.
Yeah, it's no easy task. No. That's why I stopped myself from saying that, because in my head, then I'm like, wait, no, you know what? Maybe Corey Seager and these guys, Mitch Garver, and it's just going to be fun to see what that Rangers lineup does. They might beat up on some pitchers, but my thing is I'm just not high on Texas's pitching this year, so I think they get beat up on a lot too when I see them closer to a 500 team than anything else.
All right. Yeah, I mean, I think you covered it. I think we can move on.
Fair enough.
Moving on to.
All right, so I mean that really looks like as far as the matchups go this weekend. Okay, no, we do got one more. Let's talk about Matt's Phillies over here. I mess around going Matt's Phillies. He's a noisy Yankee fan, but you got the Phillies going up against the Athletics. I think that's also going to be a massacre, to be honest. The Athletics. I think the only guy I can really actually I can name a couple guys on that team. They got Tony Kemp and Seth Brown and Sean Murphy, but all those guys aren't really messing who. So they got a couple guys, but nobody really of note. I think that Phillies team goes out there and beats up on them. And as far as pitching goes, it's really just Frankie Montas, so that they got one game of some decent pitching against that Phillies team. But I think the rest of the weekend is no fun. I think your Kyle Schwarbers and your Nick Castellanos and Bryce Harper, who hit 2 home runs today. Matt, I don't know if you saw that. And he's hitting like 400 this spring. Just had to highlight that real quick. So, I think all those guys go out there and dominate. I'm interested to see what Aaron Nola does, for them in their first game. It's a great lineup for him to go out there and show off against, because he had a really bad year last year. But, a lot of people still high on him. I have hope, got him one of my keeper leagues. So hopefully Nola can show out against those Oakland Athletics. But otherwise than that, I don't really think there's much else to say besides this Oakland Athletics team is going to be another one of those teams that you're going to want to stream against. If you're coming up in a weekend and you're like, oh, damn, let me check the matchups. See who's playing Oakland, that's definitely somebody to throw in there, no matter who it is, usually most of the time, and especially if somebody that's going to be good, hey, get him in there,
And don't start Frankie Montas. He's going to get lit up like a Christmas tree.
Matt's calling it now. Frankie Montas gets lit up. I mean, I could see it. I think that Phillies team is hot. Actually, let's highlight this too, Matt. I don't even know if you know this. You probably do, because you're on your game usually, my brother. But Bryson Stott made the team. Yeah. Bryson Stott is going to be starting for the Philadelphia Phillies on opening day. It seems like, I'm not 100% sure on that, but he did make the team. I don't see why he wouldn't be in the lineup unless, I don't see any reason. And Alec Ball made the team for whatever reason too. I know he's playing all right this spring, but I like Stott over him, my opinion. Bryson Stott is somebody that you definitely want to, rookie prospect here that you want to throw on your watch list. Definitely. I like low over him maybe for now. Positions could change that. They play different positions, whatever position you might need. But someone to throw on your watch list, possibly on the end of your bench. Matt, thoughts on Stott real quick?
He's going to be good, but he's hitting at the bottom of the lineup, I think, anywhere from 8 or 9. So he's really not going to be too much of a fantasy force for you. But he could have some steals, chip-ins for you at some point if you're a desperate start and you need something. Over the season, I could see where he can kind of move up and kind of get into like the 6-7-ish area in there where you can actually see some actual production for you. But again, I don't think this is the year for him. So, definitely somebody to keep an eye on. If you're in a keeper league, dynasty league, he's somebody I'm probably trying to acquire for dynasty and, go from there. He may have some long-term value for you, but this year, I don't think it's going to be much more than real baseball impact. So,
all right. Well, fair enough. From there, I kind of want to transfer into we'll highlight some players who have good matchups this weekend, or just guys in general that we think can help you this week. I'll start here, Matt, if you want to get one ready, because I don't know if I'll give you too much of a heads up with this.
No, you didn't.
So, so somebody that I want to highlight here is Steven Matz. He's only 50% owned in Yahoo. He's going to be pitching April 10th against the Pirates. So it's going to be interesting. He had a very, very big spring. I'll read you this. Steven Matz yielded 2 hits over 6 2/3 innings in the Cardinals' 7-0 shutout of the Marlins Tuesday. Just seems like he struck out 5. He walked 1. He threw 74 pitches, so he's ready to go. I could see him having a big game against these Pirates because they really don't have anybody. It looks like an easy win to me for the Cardinals. I think Steven Matz is definitely somebody you want to throw out there this weekend that could possibly help you get get you a win, get you a couple strikeouts, get you a couple innings, good whip, good ERA. Could totally help you out this weekend. I wouldn't be shocked if he had a big game there. Matt, any thoughts on Matz? Matz.
So while I was looking, I really didn't hear who he was playing.
He's going to play the Pirates this weekend.
Oh yeah, you start him. That's like a nice setup. Forget it.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. That was my thoughts behind it.
The only you could be in my position where like tomorrow I'm going to get crushed for the first day because I have nobody playing because of all the postpones and or just nope, the games aren't scheduled. So he may be somebody nice that can help you scoop them up and get you an extra start in that week or a day to get those counting stats up to compete this week. So
yeah, and if you have a guy, my brother, you could take it over there too if you got one. If you don't,
I really don't.
If you don't,
maybe Sean Manaea might be a nice start just because I'm not really a Sean Manaea guy, but it is against Arizona on
Friday.
I
think he has a great. I like Sean Manaea. I think he has a great start, to be honest.
So I'm not like too big on him long term, and I'm sure like other people feel different because he's on San Diego now, but he's not going to be somebody I'm like running out to go draft or go pick up or acquire. But for a matchup like this, I think he's going to light them up like a Christmas tree, and we're going to have a good time. And that'll be good production for the weekend.
All right, Matt. I got another one for us here. Somebody who has a good matchup here. Maybe a lot of people don't know about him. He's only 23% owned on Yahoo. I mentioned his name before. That's Drew Rasmussen of the Tampa Bay Rays. He's playing the Baltimore Orioles on April 9th. So I think that's going to be a good stream for you. I'll read you off his stats from last year because he actually had a pretty good year. Last year, Drew Rasmussen for the Tampa Bay Rays had a 2.84 ERA. That was in 10 starts, 35 games overall. He pitched 76 innings, had 73 strikeouts, and he had a 107 whip. So very, very good player. Very, very good numbers last year. Wasn't a very highly touted prospect, but he's 26 years old, so a young kid. I think he can go out there and he can give you 5-6 strong innings against that team, that Baltimore team, which is weak. And I just think he goes out there, he gives you good ERA, good whip, some strikeouts, win. And that's all you can ask for at this point in the year. With a lot of pitchers going down, I think, if you listen to us and, what's funny, Matt, I do want to say this. At this point in the year, I feel like a lot of, other podcasts and stuff like that are like doing things that aren't really helpful, like bold predictions and stuff like that. So I want to say, if you listen to us, we're doing stuff like this that's actually going to give you a competitive edge this week. If you're listening to us right now, we're pointing out guys that are going to help you get an edge and advantage and stuff like that. I just think you need to be tuned into the MDs, and we'll help you out. We're going to help you get through this first week with you. Matt, thoughts here on Drew Rasmussen? I'm not sure if you're familiar with him or not.
I am not, to be completely honest. I am not really his name hasn't come across my desk. Let's leave it like that.
Yeah, no, fair enough. Just a kid who went out there and looked pretty good last year. But you know what? We're going to move into another guy here we did talk about earlier, and somebody who is Matt's boy. I'm not going to get too far into him because we did mention him, but I'm going to throw it out there again, is Nick Lidolo. Only 22% rostered. That's of Nick Lidolo of the Cincinnati Reds. He's going to be starting Wednesday, April 13th against the Cleveland Guardians. Think that's somebody to throw out there. I think it's a sneaky one. You sneak him in there. He's only 22% owned. You need a little pickup. If your pickups reset Monday, hey, you know what? Get Nick Lidolo out there beforehand. Even if you don't want to throw him in, I think he's going to have a good game. Cleveland's only really got Jose Ramirez and Franmil Reyes, so that lineup isn't really super deep. If he can get past those two guys, I could see him throwing 5-6 innings with a lot of strikeouts. Once again, win, good ERA, good whip. Super helpful here at the beginning of this week.
I'm just gonna keep laughing at you.
Nah, no, as you should, brother. I'm losing it over here. I'm digging deep.
I see that, man. All right. So I don't think we got too many more of these guys going on right now. I think, to be completely honest, it's more of a wait and see moment for the rest of the weekend. And, we just got to hope and pray we make it out of this weekend without any injuries.
You know what? I will mention this though, Matt. A couple of stashes here that I'm high on. Now these are guys that are injured right now, and if you have like a lot of IL spots, or you just wanna waiver for future. I think Mike Soroka and Dustin May are guys that are supposed to be back around the All-Star break, especially Dustin May because he's on that Los Angeles Dodgers team. I think they're guys, and Soroka's on the Atlanta Braves championship team. So two young pitchers that are on two very good teams that I think are going to be back at some point this year, and they will help you win your championship because I think they're both going to go out there and dominate when they come back. They have good track record so far in their career. I'll leave you off with some stats from these guys. Might as well here. I'll give you my boy Dustin May first. Matt, you want to do a little Dustin May rant while I get his stats here, or?
Yeah, Dustin May is a pretty great prospect. He actually has a lot of upside. It's unfortunate that he got hurt last year, but I think that this year when he does come back, which I think is probably
around the All-Star break is what I heard.
So I don't know if I'm holding him now, but I am probably keeping an eye on him, my ear to the ground.
If you have a lot of IL spots, I know like in a couple leagues I have 4 IL spots, and I only have like one guy going on the IL. So my theory is utilize the IL spots until you need them. Until your team really is banged up and you need all 4 or 3, however many IL spots your league has, you should have somebody there because you know what? Then what's the point of having the IL at that point, in my opinion? But I do have Dustin May stats here. I'm going to read you his career stats because he hasn't been in the bigs that long, so you're just going to get his whole career here from me. In his career, Dustin May, it's 3 years. He has 6 wins, 5 losses, a 2.93 ERA. That's 19 games started, but 31 games overall. 113.2 innings, 111 strikeouts, and a 106 whip. So, and he's only going to be 24 years old. So I think it's a kid you definitely take a shot on. He's been very, very good in his young career. He was a highly touted prospect coming in, and you got to love the flow too. He's got this big orange flow going. He's a tall man, so when he pitches, it's just a lot of fun to watch. He's got good mechanics. I think Dustin May is going to be a very, very good stash. Actually, Matt, why don't you take this one? Because this is one of your boys, Mike Soroka here. You think he's a good stash? Because I certainly do.
I mean, I hope he comes back because the kid's got talent.
Sure does.
So the scary part is before he got hurt, and I don't know, how new you are to fantasy baseball or how much you knew about him prior, but a lot of people were comparing him to a young Scherzer. Mm-hmm. So the reason why they said young Scherzer was if you look at his stats, he doesn't have a lot of strikeouts, but that's how Scherzer's career was. He was very pinpoint accurate. And he knew how to get guys to miss when they can, but he got guys out. And, eventually he developed into his man body. And, with his man body then came with the 800 million strikeouts. So the kid has the upside to become, I'm not saying Scherzer, but a Scherzer-like talent that can, explode the league. And I'm truly in love with the kid. And, he was actually my keeper going into the year he blew out those Achilles. And really hurt me personally because I'm such a big fan of this kid. And then he blows it up again last year. And now, what is it, his elbow or his shoulder or something? Or his wrist?
Matt, he racked up a few different injuries over the course of last year. So if I told you exactly, I knew I'd be lying because it was a couple of different things wrong with him. But
it's painful. But at the same time, he's worth at least watch list.
Yes.
Possibly, like Dom said, sit him on your IL. I don't know when he's going to be back.
Yeah, in that sentiment, Matt, I do think he's supposed to be back around the All-Star break as well, but don't hold me to that, anybody. That's just things that I'm hearing. So I think him and Dustin May probably around the All-Star break, but I'm going to do this for Soroka. I'm going to do the same thing I did with Dustin May stats because they both haven't been around that long. So I'm going to give you his career. It's also 3 years for Mike Soroka, and he's also going to be 24 this year. It's 15 wins. It's 6 losses. It's a 2.86 ERA. 37 starts, 214 innings, 171 strikeouts, and a 116 whip. So in my opinion, as I said, I think both of these guys, that's Mike Soroka and Dustin May, once again, are IL stashes at this point for me. If you have the room, if you don't have the room on your ILs, as Matt said, put them on your watch list and see what happens. Try and keep up to date. We'll keep you up to date on the MDs as to their progress and what they're doing. I know I even saw Dustin May was throwing bullpens, so I don't know about Soroka at this point.
I just read it. So he's back in the second half of the season.
Yeah, so probably after the All-Star break. Yeah. I think you see both of them around the same time.
Around June, is probably the time when you really want to start looking at whether you want to decide to pick them up if you have that IL spot. That's when I think it's appropriate to hold them. I don't think anybody's going to be thinking about him in a month or two. But, hey, you heard it here first. And when he explodes next half,
Yeah, I'm telling you, man. I'm going as far as to say if you have the room, stash him. I think him and Dustin May worth it, or even just pick one, because you may not want to deal with two guys like this that are banged up and you don't know when they're coming back. So maybe you pick your favorite and you stash your favorite at that point.
All right, I can respect that.
Yeah, but you know what, guys? I think that's about enough for us. Actually, let's do one last thing here. We're gonna do one last thing before we wrap it up. This is a little fun segment that we're gonna try and bring to you every episode if we can. I do want to point out first here, we are not sponsored by them. It's the Beat
whatsoever.
The Streak. Yeah, it's not sponsored by them at all. But it's the Beat the Streak. They changed the name of the app this year. It's the MLB Play app, but we're gonna talk about the Beat the Streak game within the app.
So can we explain it? Because I don't know if even anybody's really heard of it or knows about it.
Yeah. If you want to take the wheels, go ahead, Matt.
So essentially, it's a fun game by MGM through this new app with whatever they're calling.
That's the MLB Play app, I believe.
The MLB Play app. It is a fun time. Not a sponsor, but MGM, give me a call if you want to.
Yes, if you want us, we love that. We love that. We're trying to help everyone here.
Make this my full-time job. Anyway.
That's going to be the motto. We got to get that on a t-shirt.
Exactly. So essentially you're just going to pick a guy or two that you think is going to get a hit. And, you can select one guy or two guys, but you want to get past with the last known streak, which I believe was 56. So you want to beat 56 now. It used to be 52. Somebody went off. And the winner, if you do
no, see, the thing is that the thing. Let me hop in here, Matt.
Sure.
The thing with the Beat the Streak is that they wanna. It's after Joe DiMaggio, who has the all-time hitting streak. It's 56 games in a row, right? So I think it's been going on for almost over 10 years, I believe, maybe even longer than 10 years. MGM Grant had put out if anyone could get right for 56 games in a row, and then you could double down if you want. You could add a second hitter on any given day, and if you can get 56 in a row. You win $5.6 million, and nobody has ever done it. I believe the closest was in the 50s somewhere, 51, 52 maybe. But no one has ever done it before, and it's we're just throwing it out there because we want anyone to win money. We're trying to help you guys win money. It's a little something fun here. And I'll give you my first two guys. My first two guys are going to be Austin Riley and Luke Voight for opening day. Don't forget, don't throw any Yankees, Red Sox, Mariners, or Twins in there because those guys are postponed. But guys, you definitely should download the app. It's a fun time. Matt and I are gonna, throw our picks out there every episode and try and let everybody know, what we think going forward. Guys, get out there. You can win some money really for guessing, players. Matt, do you have guys locked in for your first opening day?
Yeah, I do. So
who do you got there, my brother?
I'm rocking out. I'm doubling up. I always take
I'm gonna throw that there too. Double up on the first day. It's worth it. You only go back to zero, and you're already at zero, so you have to double up the first day.
I always get frisky unless it's a really bad day. So I'm going with Manny Machado and Francisco Lindor.
Okay,
so I think those are both great matchups. I think Bumgarner's washed up, and I think that Lindor is going to light up Corbin for at least one. So I'm feeling pretty good about those picks. I wish I could triple up and go get somebody else.
Right. Yeah, wouldn't that be beautiful? Yeah, as I said, I got Luke Voight going against Bumgarner too. I think Bumgarner's a little old. I think Luke Voigt's in for a big year this year. And once again, Austin Riley versus Tyler Mahle is Tyler Mahle is a great pitcher, but I think his whip's a little high, so he gives up some hits. I think Riley's going to have a breakout year this year. I think he gets on base against. I think he gets a hit against Riley. Riley gets a hit against Mahle there. But otherwise, Matt, I think besides that, I think that's about it for the MDs this week.
Yes, sir. I think we're good.
Well, all right, everybody. Good luck in your opening week. We will see you next Tuesday. Catch you then, guys.
Enjoy opening day weekend.
Yeah, enjoy, fellas.